We turn now to the latest on Sandra Bullock's marital woes. There are reports this morning that her estranged husband is telling friends he's hoping for forgiveness from the recent Oscar winner. Will she forgive him? Should she? Should she? I hit the streets to find out why so many people are thinking about what's happened to Hollywood's girl next door.
Disturbing pictures on TMZ's website emerged of the other woman involved in a reported love triangle with Sandra Bullock. As Jesse James got back to work over the weekend, new details that Bullock knew her husband had groupies, but trusted him anyway.
When they first got together, they were very much the odd couple. It was opposites attracting, but they clearly had a very loving, very close relationship. That's why it's such a shock.
The alleged affair has struck a chord in the public psyche.
People really do identify with Sandra Bullock because she's like the girl next door. And so when something unfortunate happens to her, they can sort of identify or empathize with her pain and her unfortunate situation.
Out on the street, man or woman, everyone has an opinion.
She seems like somebody I might be friends with, so I actually felt sad for her.
The woman he was with was a little, not exactly Miss Middle America either, so kind of, why does he have to go there?
She just made that great movie, and then for something like that to happen, it's not fair. It's not fair.
And folks are chiming in online. The story on abcnews.com spiked with more than 1 million hits. One viewer wrote, "There is no way that Sandra deserved this at all. He's a married man and should act like a married man."
They look like the all-American couple, you know, perfect for each other. She waited quite some time before she picked the right man for her. And unfortunately, you know, it wasn't the case.
So why are so many people pondering this issue? Well, joining us now is therapist Bethany Marshall, and a woman who says she's been through this herself and lived to write about it. Isabel Galiz is an actress and author of the infidelity memoir, Happens Every Day. Thanks for joining us. Bethany, let me start with you. You say that people are really touched by this. Your patients are talking about it in therapy. Why has it hit such a nerve?
The fear of betrayal is a basic human anxiety. It's a primitive anxiety. And not only did he betray her publicly, he betrayed the children and her bond with them. He allowed her to adore him publicly. And was cheating at the time of the Oscars. He set her up for humiliation, and he did it at the time of her greatest professional accomplishment, which was mean and suggests envy and a wish to tear her down.
Interesting. Isabel, you said with all the hurt and all the pain, the first instinct you had was protect the kids. Clearly, Sandra is co-parenting with her husband. How did you keep the kids above the fray?
Well, I mean, it's crushing and it's so sad and very painful when it happens, but you have to think about it happening to a whole family and just an unfortunate thing happening to everyone. And I think as sad as it is and as painful, the quickly you start to think about what can come next. How can we progress? How can we move on so that we can help the children, help our marriage? If the marriage is going to disintegrate, how do we move forward in a positive way?
Bethany, there are these reports that Sandra knew there were groupies and trusted him. What are the signs that women should look for when you see or perhaps suspect infidelity?
Well, definitely if there's a pervasive pattern of profound selfishness, self-gratification, and regard for the rights of the woman, that would be a predictor, but also unexplained absences. Excessive secretiveness, he erases his text from his phone, blocks the computer, he screens his calls. A sudden interest in his appearance, like working out and losing weight, and a renewed interest in sex and trying different sexual practices.
Isabel, you said that you had no idea, that you didn't see it coming either.
No, I didn't. And I'm not sure if you're in the marriage with the kids, in your life, your job, that you're really looking for anything other than, you know, what to feed them for breakfast.
And you said out on book tour, people would say to you, how could you not have known?
Right.
What
Lots
do you
of
say to
people
people
are surprised that you don't know. But if I see a lot of people in these book groups and I say, well, does anybody think that their husbands would cheat on them? And everybody answers no. So I think it's just sad and it's important to look at both sides of the coin too, and trying to see the other person as a whole too.
It seems like with Tiger and Elin and with others, there are these explosive breakups that seem irreparable. Can this particular marriage be saved? And what are the steps of any marriage to be saved?
I'm not sure about this one, but marriages can survive infidelity. But first of all, the offending partner has to be sorry. He has to be willing to repair the damage by showing remorse, admitting to the affair, identifying why he did it, because if you can't articulate it, how can you fix it? And then finally, he has to make a plan to fix the problem. Not you, he does. And he has to take responsibility instead of blaming the woman.
Well, Isabel, you talked about feelings of humiliation. I mean, Sandra Bullock is going through this in front of the whole world.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that?
I think humiliation is a feeling in all the feelings that there are, and it's a complex situation. And I think it's important also because when somebody does something that's socially unacceptable, like an affair, it's the person who's had the affair happen to them can sort of put a halo on and say, oh, well, you did something really bad. But I think it's important for both partners to look at how they work together. If you're going to move forward, one person can't be a devil and the other one can't be an angel.
Well, Bethany, you say something very interesting, that not all fidelity is created equal, that there are different types of infidelity and that there are different ways to react.
There's 3 types. The one-time colossal mistake, okay, with an otherwise good guy. There's the guy who cannot handle marital stress, and then there's the guy who always wants narcissistic gratification. And so you have to decide, is it mild or is it severe? And that's a predictor of whether or not it can be fixed.
And you have to figure out which type it is and try to repair all the damage.
Yes.
Thank you both so much for being here, Bethany and Isabel. Clearly the questions will linger and continue.